Hey y'all, welcome to A Cup of Joe on Video. I'm Tim Tarentine, your host, and today we have a special episode. I get to sit down with a friend of mine I've known nearly all my life. We used to sit on the bus together eating gummy bears, running track and field in high school, and now we sit down to talk about his new book, The Sales Blueprint for Success, written by Eric Hamilton. I hope you enjoy the conversation today. And as you listen, I hope you think about opportunities to open up this world of sales as a career option for young people. That there are opportunities to build relationships and use natural gifts and talents and learn things like discipline in this field that we really haven't been talked to about. And so I'm proud to talk to Eric, and I'm proud to encourage you to go out and support his work today. Translators, mount up and check us out. Hey, y'all, welcome to A Cup of Joe on Video, brought to you by Translators Consulting Group. I am your host, Tim Tarentine, and today we got a doozy. I am so excited to have with me not just an author, not just a sales guru, not just a man from Kalamazoo, Michigan, class of 1996, world-class giants. He is the founder and CEO of the Hamilton Sales Academy, and he just wrote a great book called The Sales Blueprint, What Winners Do Differently. Ladies and gentlemen, none other, my man, Eric Hamilton. Eric, welcome to A Cup of Joe.
Tim Tarentine, first of all, that's a heck of an introduction, sir. I know what they mean. Hey, when they say Steve Harvey was bringing them in, boy, you bring cats in. I was looking around like, who we talking about? Who is this? I am honored and pleased to be with you, and it's an absolute pleasure. So thank you for the opportunity. Glad to be on A Cup of Joe.
It's great to have you on, Eric. And I tell you, I was saying to you before we came on air that writing a book, trying to capture what you've lived, it's so hard to do, right? Like, it's already an elite kind of thing that you do when you step out for that. But the courage it takes to then turn around and put it out for the world to see. I just want to honor you and salute you for your courage and for your heart to share what you've learned. Because you've been excellent. Now, I want to go back to the beginning so people who don't know you know a little bit about your story, right? Tell me about your journey to sales. Like, why sales? And knowing where you came from, just kind of give us that journey a little bit.
Absolutely. So I appreciate that. And to your earlier point of, when you put something out, when you put your art out for others to see, it's something that you have to be cognizant of, but at the same time, it's your art form. And so you want the world, you're writing it for folks to hopefully have an impact on someone. So yes, it does take a little courage, but I'm happy to have it out. Now, going back to your question, my journey into sales, it's been a long time. Like, I've been in the game a long time. I'm going to date myself here. Some of the young cats may not even know what this is, but the first thing I used to sell were called pagers. Those things existed. The things that you had on your hip, little small things, right?
That's right.
When someone wanted to reach you, they would send you a number, and you would go to what we would call a payphone.
Correct.
And you put a quarter in there, and you would call that number back, and hopefully you knew who it was, but most of the time you didn't know who it was.
That's right.
But that was my start into sales. And it was actually, I was in high school, and we started selling pagers through a company that I can't even remember the name now, but it was pagers. And then I moved to long distance. Boy, I might be dating myself again. Okay, nobody needs long distance anymore.
What is long distance?
Woo, yes. Long distance was important. If you wanted to call from Michigan to Ohio, that's an expensive bill right there.
It is.
So they began to come out with long distance plans, and I was selling those long distance plans for a discount.
But you gotta I gotta unpack this, man. You're selling pagers, you're selling long distance, but what is it about the interactions you're having? Like, where in the world did that come from, and where do you think that passion was birthed?
So that's a really good question. And the way I look at sales is I'm not selling. I'm not selling anything. I'm having a conversation with someone, very similar to you and I having a conversation. So people have this stigmatism towards sales. Again, going back to used car salesman. Hey, I got a deal, 1999 today. Like that's, if you want to call that sales, you call it sales, but that's not excellence in selling. Selling is having a conversation with someone, understanding what the need or the gap is and trying to find a way to solve it. Just as if you and I were talking about our personal items and I'm just asking you questions, you're asking me questions. And eventually you're like, well, I know someone that might be able to help. If someone were to come to you and say, Tim, I'm looking for a movie. Man, I want something funny tonight. I want to listen to something funny. They're asking you a question. Well, have you ever seen Life? You're going back and you're saying, I've got something for you. That's all we're doing.
It's finding the commonalities.
Simple. That's it. So how did it come about? It's because I enjoy helping and talking to people. Now, in actuality, I'm kind of an introvert. Yeah, kind of an introvert. Yeah.
Introvert.
Yeah.
Is a big time salesman.
Yeah. I know.
Hold up, wait a minute. Put a little Hamilton in it. I gotta figure this out. Hold on. This is counterculture. What you talk about? What do you mean introvert?
So yeah, absolutely. That's a really good one. So from the perspective of, I'm getting better at it as I've grown. But in the past, especially when I was younger, I didn't want to be in a room full of people trying to either sell or converse. When I used to go to sales clubs and sales like seminars, and it was, 100, 200 people, I didn't want to be there. I enjoyed this one-on-one conversation. I enjoy being at home, relaxing, watching TV with the family. That's what I enjoy. But part of what we do is you have to be able to make people feel a certain way. Even if you are in your business, there might be some days where you just don't feel like being bothered with folks.
Amen.
But if they're paying you for a service, you're gonna have to move that little issue you have with your son or something. You gotta move that to the side until after work because I got to go in and execute on this game plan.
Right.
So I enjoy the interaction, the interpersonal relationship that you build with people, asking the right questions to get the answer that you're looking for to help them solve whatever gap that they have.
Again, we're here with Eric Hamilton, the author and sales leader of this great book, The Sales Blueprint, What Winners Do Differently. Eric, you make it sound real easy. And I know in your mind, it may be after all that experience, right?
Yeah.
But there's some real fear about sales, and part of it is rejection.
Yes.
You talk a bit about some of these stigmas and some of the myths around selling.
Yes.
Talk to us about maybe one or two of those that are most common, one of them being that fear of rejection.
Yeah.
Help us understand that a little bit more. That's the elephant in the room. Sales seems scary.
Yeah. And just like anything, it can be. For you to step out on faith and build your business, you had to overlook potential failure.
Every day you have to.
Can't be scared to fail.
Yeah.
In search of perfection is what Jay-Z once said.
Watch out there now.
Absolutely. So it's important. So fear is something that if you're fear and rejection, if you think about what we're doing, a lot of people say sales is a number game. Oh, you just got to make 1,000 more calls and you'll get the number.
Yeah.
Conceptually, yeah. Okay, you make enough calls. You just need one person out of a full day to say yes. But is that the most effective way of going about it? So here's the thing. If you're scared or fearing rejection, first and foremost, you got to get over that just in life. Like you can't be scared to fail. Otherwise, you're never going to take any chances. And if you don't take any chances, are you really going to live up to your potential or execute on where you really want to be if you don't take any chance? Think about the game of life. The actual board game. If cats still play board games around here.
Yeah, man.
Yes. So you had two ways that you can take, right? You had college, and then I think it was just going to get in a job. And then along the way, there was a safe path and there was a risky path. The safe path was longer, right? It was a longer way of going about it and less rewarding, but there were less risk. The risky path was a straightforward across the board or across that section where, yeah, you could lose $20,000, but at the same time, you can gain $50,000 or $100,000. But it's taking the risk because it's okay. Because if I stumble or I fall, that doesn't define me. If you fail at something, that doesn't define who you are. That's a temporary portion that you're in. That's a temporary season, whatever you want to call it. That's temporary. But what do you get your butt back up and continue to execute? So rejection, you got to get through that, number one. And in sales, finding the right person to talk to. Important. Because if I don't want or need anything that you're selling, it's not the right fit. I'm not
Why are we here?
Yeah. If I'm selling tires, okay, I'm at Bell Auto or whatever tire shop you could think of, discount. If you come into my shop, there's something you want in this.
That's right. We here for some reason.
Yeah, you're here for some reason.
Yeah.
Maybe you're just looking around. Maybe you just like tire shops, but most likely you have a problem. Can I ask the right questions to get you to talk about your problems?
And how did you learn what those questions were? Where did you get that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So some of it is trial and error. Some of it you mess up some questions. Yeah, you just mess them up. You're like, I'm never going to say that question again. That was a bad question. Others you run across and you get good sales leaders that show you and actually demonstrate some of the questions. And I had a couple in my time that they were really good at questions. And so those are things that, again, if you just kind of pull this into life, you grab things from people that you can add to what you're doing. The things that you see that you don't want to add, don't add them. But I think some of this is trial and error. And I like this concept of an A-B sequence, which is absolutely, I might ask you one question this way to see what kind of response I get. Then I ask another person the question in a different way, see what kind of response I get. If I like the B, I'm going to start asking more this way. You run it a few times to see, same thing with an email that you send out. I might just want to change and play with a couple of words. If one works better response, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep doing the thing that give me the better response.
So sales is curiosity.
Yes.
Sales is relationship development.
Yes. Yes.
Sales is finding commonalities.
Yes.
Sales is process of elimination.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't sound like you need a degree for this.
No.
What do you need to be good in sales?
You know, sales is one of the only professions that it doesn't matter your race, your sex, or your education. You have limitless earning potential in sales. There's no cap. If you want to give yourself a raise, simply just go sell more.
Yeah.
Simple. What other profession can you think of where you can give yourself a raise anytime you want to? Here's what you do have to have. Number one, you got to be a go-getter. You have to be someone that that wants success, that want to go after it.
Sure.
If you don't have that drive, sales is the type of profession that if you don't have the drive, you get lazy. You get a big deal, you get a big check, and you like, I made it. Yeah. And then you know what? Next 6 months you dry. Because I've experienced the high, but I didn't continue to grind.
Okay.
Didn't continue to put the work in. So you gotta be a go-getter. I think secondly, you also got to have a little bit of curiosity. You got to be curious. Okay. You have to want to understand what prospects or what people are going through. You got to have a little bit of product knowledge because I got to know how to tie whatever I have to your problem. And I always say, you got to be coachable. But for me, that's almost any profession. I can't hire anybody or have anyone on my team that's not coachable.
Yeah.
Because if you are not coachable and you do things your own way, when things happen that do not go your way, then what do we have?
Right.
Because you feel like you know what you're doing and you're going outside of the process. So it really comes down to you got to have that motor. If you want it, it can be there for you. That's why, Tim, one of the things that I would like to see more of, we lack a minority presence, a diversity presence in sales, specifically technology sales. I go to conferences, and I mean, I was with a very large, like a 60,000 employee organization. In the whole sales kickoff, which is probably 5,000 people, one of maybe 5.
Very low number.
We go to leadership, I might be one of only and the means 0.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a gap around the understanding that it's available, or again, sales isn't something that people just when they're young and say, I want to grow up and be in sales. Like, you don't see that. No.
It's not a career path that pops up in the career class.
No, it's not. But it's one of those things that's so rewarding. And if we could get more people, more diverse candidates to pay attention and to take advantage of the opportunities that sales can bring. And for me, and I'm on a little bit of a tangent, but sales is something that can fuel your passion.
Yeah, man.
If you're passionate about something else, whatever it is, sales can be your vehicle to fund your passion.
That's right.
Because it's flexibility. You're going to make some good money. You have that opportunity to go and fund, whether it's real estate or entrepreneur with another bit, whatever it is, like you can use sales for that vehicle.
I was going to ask you back to the representation in sales, particularly tech sales, data sales.
Yes.
I was going to ask you who was on your mind when you wrote the book.
Yeah.
Is that part of the people that was on your mind and heart when you wrote it?
Absolutely. And
tell me more.
Yeah, I think for me, I was a part of an organization. I just left last year, but it's a national Black MBA.
Okay.
And it was an organization, it's worldwide, but I was in the DFW chapter. So I sat on the board for the strategic partnership side. And so I would go out to companies and interact with them and eventually get them to purchase our services. And our services were access to our candidates. So you had African-American MBAs or undergrads aspiring for that. So they would be paying for access to them. And one of the things I would really try to push to not only our team, but just the National Black MBA is the opportunities that are available for sales.
Yeah.
To your point, the first thing people say is, oh, I don't like to talk to people. Oh, I don't like rejection.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that I don't feel like doing. Tim, I don't feel like working out in the morning at 5 a.m. every day.
Yeah.
Tim, I don't feel like not eating what I want to eat just because I'm trying to maintain.
Yeah.
I don't feel like making calls when it's time to make calls. I don't feel like it. It's not about how you feel. It's what needs to be done to get to whatever that level of success is what needs to be done. It's not about how you feel. When you wake up and don't feel like working out or feel like whatever, you fill in the blank. It's not about your feelings.
Yeah.
So you have to,
if you're on for a goal, you got to get up and get it, baby.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
One of my former mentors used to say that feelings is for information, not instructions.
I love it. I love it.
It's just telling you it's hard. It's not telling you to stop because you feel like stopping. No, that's just information. It's giving you some info on where you're at, but it ain't telling you what to do.
Let's go, Tarentine. Let's go. Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the same mentality that salespeople have to bring.
Yeah.
Let me get back to this book, The Sales Blueprint. Now, if I'm a business leader, I got a sales team. How is your book going to help us grow?
Yeah. I think quite simply, the way I look at sales is I simplify it. So I'll give you an example, which I think will go back to any company, any organization that has a sales organization. Depending on the size of your organization, I went to a company, my last company, and it was a global organization. First things first, when I get hired into an organization, okay, full transparency, I don't necessarily know what I'm selling. Okay,
Right.
when I moved to the data center side, I had no idea how to sell data center. I got to this company, I didn't even know what SaaS or software as a service was. Too late, they hired me. So here's what I did notice very quickly is that the people on the East Coast and the people on the West Coast and the people in the Central, the way they went about their presentations were totally different. The slides, the talk track, everything was different.
Wow.
When you think about this, I live in Texas now. If I go into a McDonald's in Texas and I go into a McDonald's in Michigan,
Yeah.
the food selection will most likely be very, very similar, almost exact.
Right.
The only thing different is the experience from that person.
Yeah.
The menu, one through whatever McDonald's has now, will be the same.
Yeah.
So my concept is why? Why do you have different slides in this area than this area, this team and that team? No, first and foremost, this is a franchise model. We have to streamline the concept.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it's Amazon or whomever. If they're on the East Coast talking to a team in the West Coast, that experience, the talk track should be similar. So first thing I did is, all right, I need to build a process that can help us get all on the same page. A process that can walk everyone through plug and play. A new person comes in, here's what you do. Here's how you prepare for a meeting. Here's how you run a meeting. Here's the type of questions you ask.
You're
Here's what
setting standard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure. All the great ones do it.
Absolutely. Plug and play. Because
Yeah.
if you're able to do that, a lot of times with organizations and why sales organizations struggle is they don't have a real process. They just go do. Hey, just go out there and make a whole bunch of calls. That's not a plan. That's not even how you prepare.
Right.
I don't know
Particularly
what
when
to
you're
say.
in industries that are long-term sales, you're asking them to trust you with a lot.
Absolutely. You're talking multi-million-dollar
Yeah.
sales.
Yeah. You're not selling candy bars.
Absolutely. And even when I was selling pages, I still had to have a process.
That's right.
I think it was $9.99 or something too, but I had to have a process. I knew what I wanted to say when I approached the person. When I sold long distance, I used to sell cable service over the phone to folks in the evening to pay my way through school. But I had a process.
Yeah.
Even way back then, I didn't even know what I was doing, but you have to have something, have a process. So I think that is a lot that you're going to learn in the book. If you're a sales leader, it's how do I get consistent sales results?
Yeah.
You get consistent sales results by doing the same type of activities that are going to lead to success. You find out what your strengths are and you sell to them. You make a plan, your value proposition, you're building around that so that it doesn't matter if your number 1A player leaves. In theory, you can have another person step in. I'll use the example of just really quick of the New England Patriots. Now, when you look at it now, you're like, okay, this analogy is not going to work. But go back prior to Tom Brady leaving in that whole decade that Tom Brady was there. Bill Belichick built his system, the whole Patriots way, around people being interchangeable.
Yeah.
If you do your job well, it doesn't matter who you are. I can change you off for someone else. And you know what? They got 6 rings out of this. He had a process. It wasn't the people, it was the process that he built out, and that process was proven, and then they had success because then when new people come in, they see that they've had success, so they've already bought into the system. Same concept. Now, yes, it didn't work when Tom Brady left, but the point of this is it's a very similar concept. That's what you want to build out in sales is a process where if Tim gets hit by a bus tomorrow, someone got to fill those big shoes to step in and run the organization.
So if you have those processes in order, so it's really not just about being a lone person who can talk real good.
Yes.
It's both talent and process together makes an excellent salesperson.
Absolutely. Now, you brought up an interesting point. A charismatic person without a process will have some success.
Yeah.
You will notice they bounce around a lot at companies.
Yeah, because they can only be fresh. Yeah.
Very
it's like the same thing in sports, right? Very talented with no process.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Same thing.
Because you know what? You have to be disciplined. Discipline and consistency are key. And a lot of people aren't very disciplined. And they can't be consistent because they're not disciplined.
No, we still got Golden Corral.
I do it just.
Listen, Eric, I got a couple questions, more questions for you that I just got to have you really kind of think about. But before we get out of here, where can we learn more about the Hamilton Sales Academy?
Yes.
And certainly, where can we go get the book? Where can we find it? And where can we come understand more from the Sales Academy?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So my website that is built upon, which has details on the Hamilton Sales Academy, presentation, speaking engagements, or just consulting one-on-one available. It's on the salesblueprintforsuccess.com. The salesblueprintforsuccess.com. On that site, you can order directly from my site, the book as well. The book, if you ordered from my site, I will personally sign an autograph and send you a note. That's the first way that you can find out. The salesblueprintforsuccess.com. It's also available on Amazon. So you have the ebook if you are a Kindle reader. You have the paperback as well as the hard copy are all available on Amazon.
Okay.
Process of working on a audiobook. That's going to be another few weeks before I finish that sucker up. That's a lot of recording, but yes,
it's going to be your voice.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I love it. Hey, y'all didn't know, but Eric can beatbox and he can sing. He can play the spoons. It's going to be a musical celebration. I'm totally joking. Don't have those expectations of him. That's powerful, my brother. So just again, the salesblueprintforsuccess.com.
Yes, sir.
You can go there, and actually I would suggest you go there. My guess is Brother Eric gets more profit if you actually go to his site than Amazon. No hate on Amazon, but hook the brother up if you go support him. The salesblueprintforsuccess.com. Get the book. Check out his classes. If you need a speaker for any of your, particularly if you're trying to help people figure out careers. What if you have a group of young people you have coming, or a group of college students who are looking for direction? I'm sure that Eric and the book together can really be a connection for impact for those folks. So the salesblueprintforsuccess.com is where you go find that book and more information about Eric. Now, Eric, before we get out of here, let's play a little game. Let's play. Speaking of the game of life.
Yeah, let's get it.
I got a sales team. I just bought a new company.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a book to lead us on making sure we can scale up our sales efforts. Sell me on why we should go with Hamilton Sales Academy. Tell me what you offer us.
Absolutely. I think first and foremost, when you think about a company that is trying to scale, what they struggle with. First thing that you're trying to struggle with, or you're struggling with, is bringing on the talent. Number one, I got to bring on the talent, and then it's the training. How much time, effort, energy, and resources are you paying to scale these folks up? That's the biggest, when you think about employees, like the cost of training a sales professional to just flail out in 6 months, 8 months, 12 months. Now you've got $100K that you invested into the salary of this sales professional on top of the training that you put forth. Here's what you're going to get for meeting with me and having a conversation, providing the book to your team. You will bypass that training aspect because you will have a process. The process is going to allow you to reduce the opportunity for people to flake or fail out. Because again, it's less about the actual people being so skilled. It's going to be a process that is very repeatable. And repeatable processes that show success, it's easy. Now, the second piece is, what I would do is I would want to sit down and understand what is it that your organization does differently, right? I would want to understand what's the value prop that you have. There's always something that your business does better than everyone else. You may even take it for granted, but it's important to understand what that is, right? And so there's some basic fundamental questions that I would want to ask as I understand the business more. But fundamentally, what I would do is build out a process along with that particular company on how to retain, grow the talent, and scale your sales to be more predictable. Biggest gap with sales is predictability. CFOs go crazy over salespeople because they forecast something and then it doesn't happen. Oh, it got pushed to next quarter. It's tough to run a business when you don't know what's really coming. So you have to understand how to properly forecast accurately. Well, how do you do that? You've got to have a process. And inside of my process, it's a proven process that allows you to forecast accurately. So now you can go to your CFO and say, I am going to deliver this particular number. Here's the details behind it. Why?
Well, I tell you, in the famous words of Ray Gibson in the movie Life, shoot yeah you want to. Yeah you want to. We want to, ladies and gentlemen, Eric Hamilton. He is the Hamilton Sales Academy. He's got the great book, The Sales Blueprint for Success. Go to thesalesblueprintforsuccess.com. Get the book, buy his services. And listen, if you got some young people in your life who are graduating from high school, graduating from college, looking for direction, don't know where to go, what to do, get them the book. This could be a path to economic independence for them. Thank you, Eric, for coming on the Cup of Joe today, man. Shout out to you. It's so good. It does my heart good to sit down and talk to you, brother. Everybody else, stay in the game, keep your head up, and translators, mount up.